What is it like to work with real estate agents? For the most part, we love working with them. We have met some phenomenal people. We have made some very good friends with some of the agents that we work with. Can't say as we've had too many bad experiences with them. Overall, a lot of them, they've learned kind of what we do and what our role is, and so they take the time to properly educate their clients before we even come into the home, so that clients are already expecting what we're going to say to them to a degree. Those are the best realtors to work with.
Was there anything that was surprising to me about becoming an inspector that I didn't expect? Not really. Not really. I had been a part of other trades in my past that I guess I'd had trial runs at doing inspections on multi-million-dollar equipment and government inspections, that sort of thing. So there wasn't really, once we got going in it and found out what exactly needed to be done. So yeah, pretty comfortable with what we're doing. Can a home inspection kill a deal? Yes, it can.
But it
shouldn't. It kind of falls back onto the real estate agent on how they've prepped the client, or even if they understand what the client's looking for. If we walk into a home, it's an older home, it's not maintained, it's in a lot of disrepair. If it's a contractor, that person probably isn't as worried about all those things. They're going to be looking for basically, is the structure okay? Can I gut this house? Can I reno this house and make money off it at the end of the day? If it's a regular person, they're not a handy type of person, then it could come into a bit of an issue because they're not prepared for what they're about to walk into. So it's usually the realtor that is prepping that client for what they're walking into. And if they haven't, then that's where all of a sudden when we come back with these deficiencies, that the client goes, holy smokes, what do we got here? Now all of a sudden there's a problem, right? So it's not so much with what we've done, it's just that once again, the preparation wasn't done properly.
Can a house fail an inspection? No, because we're not actually there to pass or fail homes. We're literally there to just speak for the home on the home's behalf. We're there to just make a note of any concerns that we have found in that time frame that were allotted in the home, presented to the client, and the client then gets to decide if that's the best home for them, their family. So we don't ever pass fail homes. In the end, it's the buyer that passes or fails, whether it's going to be a worthwhile investment for them.
How long is a home inspection good for?
We actually tell people, and in fact, one of the first pages of our report specifies that a home inspection really is a snapshot of the home on that day in time. It is not a guarantee that the home will look like that even a week later, because especially if there's people still living in it, we can't say that the washing machine won't flood and all of a sudden you need extensive renos done because of that. It literally is a snapshot of that moment. That being said, there are some things that you would expect won't change too much. The foundation shouldn't shift drastically in a 6-month period, or the roof shouldn't deteriorate to the point, where one day it was good for, 10 years and the next day it's only going to be good for the next year kind of thing. There are some things that should stay the same, but again, we don't have a crystal ball to...
And being that there's, if there's sellers there or whatever and they're moving out, there could be damage that happens as they're moving their stuff out of the home that we would have never caught during the home inspection, because of course it happens afterwards, right? So.
Can a buyer come to a home inspection? We actually encourage the buyers to come. We like to have a little bit of time to inspect without the buyers present at the beginning. It just gives us time to get as much of the inspection done as possible. And then when the buyer comes, we can actually concentrate on their questions. We can walk through the home with them. We can basically educate them as much as possible at the home. We definitely encourage, though, if it's at all possible, for the buyers to be there at some point during the inspection, just for the education alone.
Can a seller come to a home inspection? We have had just a few who have stayed around. It does make it awkward because now you have the buyers and the buyer realtor that's there, and most of the time they're wanting to have, I guess, their space, their time in the home, and a lot of them look at it, and we do too, it's their privacy, it's their time to find out what's really going on in the home. And by having the seller there, as a seller, they might take it personally or as an insult if something comes up that they weren't aware of themselves. So it does make it a bit awkward, but we have had a few that have stayed behind to be there during the inspection.
Our home inspection report's confidential. They're basically the property of the person that hired us to do the inspection. All of their information is confidential. We don't sell the report out from under them. If the seller were to ask us if they can have a copy too, we always have to defer back to the original client that hired us. We can't even send a copy of the report to the client's realtor without getting the client's permission. So in that way, yes, they are confidential, even though it's not really confidential information as a whole. It's just the property of the client. So we treat it as a confidential document and get their permission before anybody else gets to view it.